Good afternoon and welcome to Mundane Mystic Live at 5. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and I hope you're happy to be with me or happy that you happen to find me. If this is the first time you've watched one of my videos, I call myself the Mundane Mystic, and you can be one too. What do? I look for the spiritual principles and truths behind our everyday life experiences. If you like what you see, I invite you to go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel, Alicia Leslie, Mundane Mystic. Look at the videos. I got more than 500 of them there. And this series is Mundane Mystic Live at 5. And today we are talking about change. Most people don't like change too much, but the only thing that never changes is change. And that's a paradox. So today I wanted to say change or die. That's the scary part, change or die. You know, I had a wonderful teacher one time. I met him once, bought his cassettes and listened to them and shared them and sadly didn't get them back. But the good thing is the teaching that I got from him lives in my heart. And one of the things I learned from him is we are living beings. When you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. It's kind of like change or die. We want to keep growing. It doesn't matter what our age is, doesn't matter what our, circumstances in life are. We are here to learn and grow. And right now we are being called on to really work at comprehending what does that mean? What does it mean to learn and change or die? We remember that the butterfly spins a chrysalis, a cocoon around itself, and then the creature completely liquefies, doesn't liquidate, it liquefies. And it from that comes the butterfly. And then the butterfly has to work its way out of the cocoon. In that process, it's being squeezed and it's uncomfortable. And when it comes out, all of the juicy stuff left behind enables them to spread their wings. If that didn't happen, it's an old story about a man who saw a butterfly struggling to get out of the chrysalis, out of the cocoon, and gently took a little, tug on the cocoon and broke it open, and the butterfly died. It died because it had all the icky, sticky stuff on it that was in the chrysalis that it was trying to squeeze out of it as it came out of the cocoon. And it could not lift its wings and air them out and dry them and fly. That's a real reminder to us that we have to be willing to change ourselves and not focus so much on changing others. My stars, there's so much going on today with people trying to change others, to force them into being what they want them to be. I know. We all have someone in our life we would love to change. Why don't they get it? If only they'd do this or if only they'd do that, everything would work for them. But we can't grow for them. We can only grow for ourselves. Therefore, it is our responsibility to grow for ourselves. And when they're ready to grow, they can turn to us for guidance instead of us trying to force the guidance on them. We've heard a lot over the past 4 years about the coronavirus and about how it is mutating. Well, mutating is a I don't like that word so much. It sounds like something from a horror movie, you know? It's evolving. The actual virus wants to survive. It has a survival instinct, just like we all do. And then we get after it with all the vaccines and everything. So, what does it do? It finds a way to adjust and get stronger. When I was a kid, and even today, I like to get my hands on an occasional Mad magazine. And I still remember, I saw my first, I actually purchased my first Mad magazine in 60 years when I went to Florida for Christmas. So excited. And then I shared it with somebody who was equally excited. But I remember one of the Mad magazines from many years, and they're very sarcastic and they're very funny, and it's a dry humor and it's very intellectual humor. I like it. But one of the things was about how we would have to adjust to live, how we would have to evolve. See, those viruses, you can call it mutating, you can call it evolving, should you decide. But in this silly Mad magazine, they had people growing these huge necks to rise above the pollution and these big noses to try to draw in some fresh air. And the thing is, that was more than 60 years ago, and we're still not getting the message that they were trying to share. So sometimes Mad Magazine is fresh, but I really recommend it because it's got some very, very valid points. You know, you can go to church and you can get some truth there. I hope you can watch my videos and get some truth there. There are a bazillion videos on YouTube that help me to figure out how to do anything I need to do. It's got good and it's got bad, like anything else. But it's also helping me to learn and change and grow. What inspired today's video? Well, there's a few things in the news, and that's one of the things I'm about, is sharing what's in the news and how that impacts us. Well, this was an article that I saw on the internet where a girls' basketball team, they had to play against boys. They belonged to a league, like a after-school league or something like that, a private league. And they were told the only way that they could play is they played against the boys. And they did. And they worked their way up to the championship. And they won. And they denied the girls the trophy. They said they couldn't have it. Because, you know, it was a boys' league, really. And they were just kind of like there. Doesn't that shoot in the foot a lot of those things about trans students trying to compete in sports of the other gender? Trans is a big issue today. It is. I've seen a lot of things on it because we have to learn not to judge right away, judge off the bat. There is a lot going on in our evolutionary process. And we have to learn not to judge by what we learned in the past, but what we can learn from the present and the future. I saw an article. I've said it before. I am Johnny Five. I want input, and you can get it anywhere. One of the places you can get it, believe it or not, was in a 50-years old Playboy magazine. Playboy was not as raunchy as it is now. I don't know. I haven't seen it now, so I confess I can't say that because I don't know. But what I have seen on the newsstands is, But anyway, the story, which I'd actually bought my husband a subscription to the magazine, and it's what he liked. Guys like, I get. So there was an article in there about mice. They did an experiment and they let a colony of mice overpopulate And what they found is in this overpopulation, some of the mice turned homosexual. Some of them lost, they became asexual. They had no interest in sex at all. And some had sex and ate their babies. They kind of eat their babies anyway, so you got to be careful with those. You got to be careful with those little critters. But the point is, we have to learn. You probably never heard, unless you're my age, you probably never heard of ZPG. Do you know what that ZPG stands for? Zero population growth. And it was a movement that was very popular in the 60s and 70s. And the idea was we have enough people in the country. We don't want to overpopulate. When you overpopulate, there's extra pollution, there's a shortage of food, we want our resources. So their whole philosophy was, if we do this, we'll not overpopulate. Well, of course, they did that in China, too, where people were only allowed to have one child. And that might have worked a whole lot better, except that they didn't want the girl children, and so they had them set up for adoption elsewhere. And that's why we cannot get attitudes in our country about Asian people. They are part of who we are, that people adopted, brought into their homes. But the thing is, we're all looking at overpopulation, right? But if you've been listening to the news, you've been hearing a lot of gripes about some women who did a video about how they like not having children. All of a sudden, it's wrong not to have children. Why is it wrong not to have children? Really, ask yourself that question. What is it all about? If there's people that don't like to have children, fine. There'll be that many people that didn't want to be parents being parents. But oh no, they're talking about taking away birth control, taking away abortion rights. And I got to tell you, in all honesty, abortion to me is a very limited and personal issue. And each person has to work that out. And there are greater implications. We'll talk about those another day. But to force people into these things is very unsettling to me. I'm going to tell you right now, I realize as I look at my time going by, I am not going to finish this today. So the next video I do will be the completion of this. But I want to go back to trans for the couple minutes that I've got left. I am wondering if some of the changes in people's sexual identity, okay, if it is not probably a case of our evolution, that we are evolving to a point where we can make better decisions. Remember, we are a spiritual being having a human experience, not human beings having occasional spiritual experiences. Now, Charles Fillmore said that desire is, I got to read it because I want to make sure I don't mess it up. I know it by heart unless I try to say it. I'm afraid I mess it up. Desire is the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. It builds from within outward and carries its fulfillment with it as a necessary corollary. So the change is happening within, okay? And desire, the word, if you break down desire, it means of the Father. The sire is the Father, D is the Father. So it's of the Father. We each have within us a desire for all good, for good things. Yet the world, our lower consciousness, keeps pulling us down to the lower aspects. I am going to have to go because I want to try very hard to stick to my 15-minute limit, and I will go on with that tomorrow. But I would like to, or the next time, whenever that is, What I would like you to think about in the days until, or days until we see each other again, is think about the greatest thing we can do for our own evolution is to focus on looking beyond our human thoughts and needs and looking higher to a spiritual, to that which is within us. We are unlimited. And that's what I would like you to embrace, is your unlimited spiritual nature. Let's not let those who want to live in a past that deletes its own history so it can't learn from it. Think on these things, my friends, and I hope I will see you real soon.